Why do you think so many business owners struggle with the holiday season and even being present with family over the holiday season?
There's a number of reasons. I think the first one is we feel like we should be doing more. It's this constant chase for more. It's like more money, more success, more growth, more clients. So a lot of us, myself included, when we get to that holiday season, we don't feel like we've accomplished enough. So we'd rather keep working and achieving than switching off. So we just do that. We work. We don't realize it's just a pattern like driving. You know when you're driving and you don't look up for a while and you haven't crashed? It's just a subconscious program. Our program is to work. And it's not like we have an on and off switch. It's not like you can just turn it off. It's constantly on. So instead of just being able to switch off like our family does, for us it takes a little bit longer. We've got to feel like we've accomplished something. We've got to really have a plan for January 1st, which most business owners don't have. They start their January 1st plan on January 1st, far too late. So we've got all this unresolved stuff, all these fires to put out, all these things we want to achieve, and everyone else is like, cool, let's just chill. You're like, excuse me? How can you possibly do that? Especially if you're driven and successful. Part of what makes you successful is this constant drive. Think about the word. You're driving, you're going from 0 to 100, and then we're expected to go from 100 to 0. And two types of ways you can do that. One, we do it, and all we do is just completely switch off, stop all our routines, drink, eat, get fat, and be merry. Or we struggle to switch off, and that's when the conflict begins to occur. Because then your wife or family think that you're being selfish. Ironically enough, we feel the same way about them because they're not honoring what we want. So it's this sort of like double-edged sword. You know you should switch off, you know that you should relax, but there's this part of you that doesn't want to. So you've got what you should do and what you want to do, and they're in conflict. Then you throw in family and parents and wife into the mix, and it's a recipe for disaster for a lot of guys and women. Yeah.
How do you approach the holidays, Grant? Like, are you the type of guy that switches off, or are you like, do you know what, can I put a prediction out there?
Right,
I reckon you're like a secret workaholic. I reckon you take your laptop everywhere and you're like, oh, guys, I just got to go to the bathroom. And you'll be like at the family lunch and just like, and then you'll be in there just like emailing, you're doing some work, clicking off some tasks. Am I close?
I'm totally a secret alcoholic. Like, I'm up at like 4 a.m., 4:30, laptop out, coffee, just smashing out, reading a book, trying to just learn something. The challenge that I've got is I'm always half pregnant when it comes to like the holiday season. And I mean half pregnant in the sense that I try to get the family time in and the holidays in that, to your point, Tony, I'm supposed to do. But then I also try and get the business working because I actually thoroughly enjoy it. But because I know that society doesn't really, support that approach, I totally try and feed it in when people aren't awake or over lunches when everyone else is like on the couch sort of knackered. I'm like, I'm just going to sneak out and maybe have a nap and just be on the computer. Or then at night when everyone else is sort of gone to bed or something like that, I'll just be like on the phone reading something or doing something. So to answer your question, Charley, I'm half pregnant, so I do both really shit. Like... So it's like I don't do one of them good. I just do both horribly wrong. And Tony, you're probably going to tell me that is the worst thing for a human being to do.
I disagree. It's not the worst thing at all. I think it's actually quite intelligent if it's done intentionally. So a lot of the time we do that unintentionally and we tiptoe around being present and then we tiptoe around working. A more effective way to do it, and we've taught all our clients this on December 1st, we're recording this. We've taught all our clients that when it comes to whenever they're switching off, December 15th, 21st, they have made it known to their loved ones what they will and won't do. And they don't tell them like, this is how it is. They say, look, is it okay if during this Christmas period, I wake up at 5 a.m., you look after the kids and I work till 8, and then I'm all yours from 8 to 12 and I'm present and I'm committed to being present. And that's the key, commitment. When you're present, you've got all 5 senses in the moment and you start thinking about work and you bring yourself back into the moment and you consciously choose to enjoy it, because what's the point of having a business or being successful if you can't enjoy life and live in the moment? It's pretty hard to do sometimes. And then you've made it known that you're going to probably work during lunch when everyone else is watching Christmas movies. And you've made it known that the afternoon you're going to open presents. And then you've made it known that in the evening, after you've had dinner together, you'd like to do some emails or whatever. So if you can strategically plan these things, that's when it's a lot easier to get through. I think often as business owners, what we do is we're either all in and strategic or we do nothing and there's no strategy and it's just this chaos. So if you can create some order around what you just said and be fully pregnant in both areas, then it's a lot easier to meet everyone's needs, including your own. And a lot of the time as well, one thing we don't do is ask permission from the people we love. We just assume they understand us. We assume they know that we want to work. Then we work and they're like, why are you working? Well, because that's what I do. So I just simply said to my wife, I'm like, look, we're going to New Zealand for Christmas. Business is growing rapidly. I'm actually working with Charley on that. And I'd like to keep working, but when I'm not working, I'm with you fully. And she's like, yeah, I understand. No worries. Whereas if I just started doing it like mid-road trip to see my father, she'd be like, what are you doing, dickhead? Like, what's your problem? You know? So I think there's the best of both worlds here, for sure.
I think we make that our hot tip number one.
Yeah.
Have a game plan with your significant other. Like speak to those loved ones prior to Christmas coming up and before those like mind reader moments or those like expectations and assumptions have a chance to play out. Because like that's absolutely what happened to me many years ago. One Christmas I had taken on a project, and I think we spoke about it on the last episode we did together.
We did.
Yeah, I left a Christmas lunch to go run some ads. Hint, hint, if you don't have the conversation like Toni is suggesting here, probably not going to be a good day. Probably. Yeah. And it's like it could have so easily been avoided if I'd have had that type of conversation before, but I just expected to be understood.
Yes.
So I really like that point around having a game plan with your loved ones or significant others on what the expectations are and finding a middle ground. Like you might actually ask them what they need of that time, and then you can make sure you nail that so that in the case, or use me as the example, if let's say Bianca's got a really important thing around like opening the presents together. Well, I can put extra effort around that or adjust my schedule so that she gets the areas that are important to her. Like it doesn't have to be a zero-sum game. Everyone can have this really great experience.
Hey, fellow business owner, if this topic and value-packed short video has resonated with you at all, and you want to dive deeper into creating wealth inside and outside your business, check out the full episode by clicking the link on your screen or in the description right now.